Hi everyone, and welcome to part 4 of our Federal 101 training on the federal resume. Today we're going to go over some of the ways that a federal resume differs from a regular resume and give you some tips and tricks about how and where to start. Now, I won't be able to go over probably every question in your head, but this is just something to get started. All right, so a couple things about the federal resume. One is that this acts as your application. Often in federal hiring, there is no cover letter or any statement of interest. There's a few expectations within the intelligence community and the State Department for some of their internships, but by and large, this resume is your entire application package. To that end, there is no page limit. Reverse chronological order tends to be standard, and as with any resume, you must tailor your federal resume to the job that you are applying for or the qualifications that that job says you must have. Cool thing is that volunteer or unpaid work counts, even stuff back into high school counts. So depending on what kinds of skills you're hoping to present, that can be a really added plus. And unlike what some people may say about federal resumes, narrative statements and keywords are not required. So you can use bullets instead of narrative statements. And you don't have to use buzzwords or keywords. What you do want to do, though, is try and use the verbs that are listed, like in any resume, in the job description. So, for example, if they're looking for 2 years of experience doing teamwork, you might use the word cooperate. Just use the word teamwork. It's the same thing. So you're going to want to look at things for that. How do federal resumes differ from a typical resume? One is the purpose. Like I said, a typical resume provides a brief summary of your experiences and acts as a marketing tool. A federal resume is your entire employment application. The details you provide are used to determine your level of qualification, what is known as minimally qualified or best qualified. So, to get to the next stage in any federal application, you have to show that you are at least minimally qualified. So if they say you must have 2 years of basket weaving and 1 year of customer service, you have to show through either your education or your job or work or volunteer experience that you have those 2 years of basket weaving and 1 year of customer service. Now, best qualified is, do you have more than that? What do you have on top of that? And that is how they determine who gets to the next round. So you are communicating everything you can to your hiring manager in a written document. In terms of differences in style or type, a regular resume can be a variation. Typical federal resumes reverse chronological order. You must follow the instructions in the how to apply section. Occasionally, an agency will say just submit a one-page resume. In that case, submit a one-page resume. Don't do this. But you want to follow the instructions. And we'll go over this briefly. USA Jobs has a resume builder that can help you to format a federal resume that ensures that you have all of the required information. And the length is just determined by how much applicable experience. So there's no real limit to the number of pages. Most students, undergraduate, I see about 3 to 4 pages. Graduate students, perhaps 5. If you have work experience in between degrees, it might be a little bit longer. Folks I know who have, decades of experience, 10, 11 pages. So again, you're still trying to be concise, but you're also trying to go in depth as to your experience. Contact information. At a minimum, your federal resume must have your name, address, phone number, and email address. As you'll see in some examples, we sometimes advise students to put the job announcement on there, as well as information on your citizenship if you have a clearance, and gentlemen, if you have registered or if you are a veteran for either men or women. That sometimes is put right up at the top. So summary, you do not have to have a summary for a federal resume. You might want, if you do, you have to ensure that any information supplied in a summary is also addressed in the relevant experience section in the body itself of the resume. So just because you say you have 5 years of experience doing X, you have to still show it through the experience. You can't just leave it in the summary. It's unlike a regular resume where we talk about making sure that every bullet point is unique and different and that you don't be repetitive. You take like the best example of a skill. No, in a federal resume, you're going to give every example that you have of a skill that you're trying to show that you have. that just got a little wordy. We'll go into some examples. Education. You want to provide your educational achievements in your federal resume if it's required for the position, and if you have to qualify based solely or in part on your education. I see this a lot with internship applications. You have to show that you're currently enrolled. One way you do that is through your transcript, and another is by putting your education on there with the expected graduation date. So you sometimes can provide a little more information, but you usually want to list any and all education that you have. Experience. Again, this is where it gets different, and we'll go into an example. You have to, in addition to where you worked and the skills and the experiences that you can show you did, you have to list the dates of employment, the average numbers of hours you worked per week for each job, and sometimes even if you were paid or not. This goes into a formula that they use to determine whether or not you're qualified for the job. Military experience. Again, you want to list your military experience. And also you'll include in your application package any supporting documentation that is required if you claim what is called veterans preference. Same also if you qualify for a Schedule A disability, you often have to have a letter in the form of a doctor's note stating that you can qualify for Schedule A disability. Honors and awards, optional. Put it down if it's related to the job, even better. Describe why you received the award and what you did. Again, so for languages, research projects, skills, and certifications, included if it can show that you meet the qualifications or the experience they're looking for. But you also want to include some of this in the relevant experience section of the resume. So putting it down as a bullet is a good start, but you also want to have additional information. All right, so USA Jobs has a resume builder tool that you can use to create a resume that has all the information you need. You can also create your own using, say, Microsoft Word, but just note that some agencies' technology on the back end is really old. So even if you have a simple resume where things are bolded, italicized, maybe you have something underlined here or there, some technology on the back end can't read that, and it kind of comes out like gobbledygook, especially if you use bullets. Bullets show up looking all funny. So I often suggest you have two versions. You have your pretty nice version that you're happy with, and then you use the resume builder through USA Jobs. And we'll take a look at where you get to that. So we're going to go to USA Jobs. I'm going to sign in. Just a second. See if that works. All right. So you see my document. I had done some applications for federal jobs a couple of years ago. I was fiddling around, but you're at your home page. What you're going to want to do is go to Documents, and then here you can see I have a couple resumes. Some of them are student resumes. You can use this to upload or build your resume. So this is where you would upload your own version or build, and it's really easy. It takes you through all the different steps that you can do. You can add a work experience. This will pull information from past resumes. You can add more work experience. So like, for example, I could put down like Georgetown University. I'll just put some stuff down. Career advisor, dates, end dates, average hours per week. Can you contact your supervisor? It gives you name, phone number, and then your duties and work accomplishments. And then you can paste this part from Microsoft Word if you want. But you can save that. Now it's giving me errors because I didn't fill it out. But anyways, long story short, it really leads you through this step by step so you can build your own resume. And we'll take a look at like what this can actually look like through Handshake. So on Handshake, if we actually look at the student view, you will see if you go under Career Center, you can go to Resources, Careers and Government, and you will see we have some federal resume tips. Read this section when you have a moment. But let's look at a sample undergraduate resume. So you'll see here, up here is where we have all the information, and you can see like this person put down U.S. citizen. Public trust is just like your general, I've been cleared for, you know, a regular job, nothing fancy. Education, we have Georgetown University, and then the summer study abroad. And then you can see we've started to break out some of the skills that you're learning, and same with experience. And now this is a narrative form. I've seen really, really well done resumes done in a bulleted form. I find sometimes that putting these headers here kind of help me get my thoughts organized because it is such a long document. But you don't have to do that. You can just use some of the language that they use in the job description itself. But you can see here how it has the dates, number of hours you worked per week, whether it was paid or unpaid, and so on. So you do have this example, your technical and your language skills, your awards, extracurricular experience, and so on. So that's an example of what this looks like. And again, this is on your Handshake page. We also have a sample for a graduate student and a graduate student or someone who has a veteran background. So just feel free to check those out at your leisure. So back to the presentation. Next step, a couple same rules apply whether you're working with a federal resume or a regular resume. You always want to have a master federal resume. So that could be long. That might have every experience that you've had for the last, 6-7 years, including high school. But you're then going to tailor each resume to each particular position for which you apply. If you apply to 10 federal agencies, you're going to have 10 different resumes. I highly suggest checking out these action verbs on our website. They can sometimes help give you some ideas for what to put down. You want to try and use the job description that you're looking at for some tips as to what verbs to use. These are also just some really cool verbs. I highlight this for anybody for any resume. All right, and sorry, we're going to go back to presentation if I can. Sorry, folks. Again, even though this is a longer document, you want to be concise but thorough. So, I said this before briefly, while in a regular resume, maybe you just use one bullet in one job to describe the best example of, say, critical analysis or critical thinking. In a federal resume, you are going to put down, if the job asks for critical analysis, you are going to put down every example you can think of in your experiences, volunteer, job experience, classroom experience, where you use critical thinking or critical analysis. But you still want to be concise when you're describing what you did, but you're going to have it listed multiple times. Again, and as with any resume, you must check for spelling and grammatical errors. That's where coming to a drop-in at Colley any day from 1 to 3 p.m. is really, really helpful. So just some basic rules. Again, this is looking at the federal resume, which we kind of looked at already. The other place to check out, I'll skip for just a second, gogovernment.org. A fantastic resource. If you look over at their How to Apply section, they have a lot of great tips and tricks. A lot of it's similar to what we went over in these videos, but they do have how to apply, writing your federal resume. They have some really good information. It's pretty much, they might go into a little more detail on some of the things that I've kind of rushed over today. But again, this is just to get yourself started. So go ahead, take some time, look at these items, look at what we have online, start to use your regular resume to create a federal resume. And then once you've taken a stab at it, if you want to have someone take a look at it, do come in either to drop-ins or to make a one-on-one appointment, and we would be happy to help you. Anyways, that's all for federal resume for now. And join us for part 5 of the series, where we will go over some other common and friendly and easy to use resources as you continue on in your job search. Take care.